Welcome back to the Start Your Fashion Business channel. My name is Stephanie and I'm the host of this channel. If you want to learn about all things fashion business, then you have come to the right place. I'm really excited to be interviewing one of our students today. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to be introducing her and her beautiful brand. I just want to remind you, if you're new around here, make sure to subscribe to my channel because I share fashion business tips every week. So if you're building a fashion brand, make sure to hit subscribe and also like this video if you're into this type of content. So anyways, without further ado, I want to introduce you to Randi from BravoXRomeo. And Randi, hi, thanks so much for joining me today. I know you're, joining me from Miami and I'm in Bali. And I know it's like nighttime for you. So first of all, thank you so much for joining me and like sharing your time and also sharing your brand journey in today's YouTube video.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much. And I can't wait to learn more and also share your stories. So let's start at the beginning. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and then also what made you start your fashion business journey?
Yeah, I would love to. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. So exciting to talk to you as well. Like my mentor, it's so cool. It's like such a huge support to me as well. So yeah, my name is Randi Barry. I'm from originally Canada, but now I live in South Florida. And this is where I've decided to launch my brand. So I originally studied in school, in college, graphic design and fine art. And then when I graduated, I did not want to just sit behind a computer. I wanted to travel so badly. So I took a year, I sailed across the Mediterranean working on board a vessel. And then I was like, okay, I'm ready to go back to school because I wanted to pursue fashion. So I applied to go to fashion school in Paris, got accepted. It was way too expensive for me to afford it. So I deferred for a year, went back to working on board yachts to make money. And then I ended up going to fashion school just as like a certificate program. And that was like really eye-opening to me, like all the different things you need to do from pattern making to sketching and all this kind of stuff. It didn't teach me the business side of things very much. It didn't teach me managing production or any of those kind of things. So I ended up going back to yachting, meeting my husband, you get a dog, you get a house, settle down. So I deferred my dreams for quite a long time. It was really fun because I worked on board yachts as a stewardess. So I was traveling around the world, going to all the places like Saint-Tropez, in the Med, in the Caribbean, Turks and Caicos. So I got a really good experience being around like the 1% of the 1%, seeing how these business people work, seeing the clothing that everyone wears, working with fine fabrics, working with clothing that I couldn't afford myself, like designer clothing, and understanding caring for these garments. And, one day my husband just turned to me and he said, "You've been following me around the world and my dream. It's time for you to follow your dream." So that was in 2021. I went land-based, as we say, and I started to pursue this passion of fashion. And to be honest, I was completely lost about how to go about it from a business standpoint, because although I had learned pattern making and all of these other more labor type things, I quickly realized that making everything myself wasn't going to be a profitable business. And so that's how I ended up finding Start Your Fashion Business, which is so amazing. And it's been a huge help for me.
About what inspired, the designs and the collections for BravoXRomeo. And, if you can share a little bit more about that, because I mean, I know your brand, I've seen your designs.
Yeah.
But I would love for you to share that with the audience.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I say that it's for the sun and sea chasers because that's what I know. And people always say, like, do what you know and what your niche is. And I wouldn't say like resort wear in general is a niche, but maybe like yacht resort wear. It's not really only for people who are on board yachts, but that is kind of my inspiration, like getting into the water. Like you want like just a thing that you slip off and jump into the water. You can throw it on over your clothes, or you can wear it to the beach and then to brunch afterwards. So I was totally influenced by this water and sun lifestyle. So most of my things I try to make with that in mind. Like, you're going to be in hot weather, you're going to be sweating. You want something that's lightweight, natural fibers. I try to work with things that are organic materials or biodegradable materials, because a lot of natural fibers are just naturally breathable. So it makes sense. And I try to, always be thinking about, in the yachting industry, we are also really conscious, the crew, of our environmental impact. And I don't know if it's like a guilt thing, but we're always thinking like, how can we recycle? How can we be more sustainable? A lot of the practices that I've done on the boats that I've worked on are very like trying to be sustainable, like only, having small amounts of cleaning products, that are very clean, or we do what we can, like install RO systems so that you can just use like a water bottle on board. So, yachties are really conscious about sustainability themselves too.
Fran, and why do you think that is very important for you?
Yeah, for me, something that I feel is like so important with sustainability, like obviously besides using recycled fabrics or natural organic fabrics, things like that, is that people are being paid a living wage. And that's really something too that I've taken from working for, these massive business owners who are like billionaires and multimillionaires, is like, it has to make sense. It has to make sense for everyone involved. Like, is it sustainable as a business? Is it sustainable for the people who are making our clothes? Are they eating? Are they living well? Like, that's, to me, is also sustainability. It's important for me that I'm paying people well, that they can live their lives and they can have a whole life, not just working and working to live and living to work.
Yeah.
That I'm also having that in my life, and that's a cycle. And that's always something that I'm trying to speak about with my friends or talk about when I try to educate people about pricing, which is something that I learned about in your course. People will, do Shein hauls, or I don't want to like poo-poo anyone. Because I understand there is this thing about affordability. So what I really try to focus on is creating quality items that, maybe aren't so crazy trendy, that people can wear for a long time, that maybe they're their hero pieces, or they are clothing items that will last in their wardrobe for a long time. And if they take good care of them, they launder them properly, they wash them, they hang dry, or they follow the care instructions, that they can have these pieces in their wardrobe for a long time. That's also something I learned as a yacht stew. A lot of these people who buy these designer items, they own them for years and years and years. And if you think about it, you spend $120 on a pair of pants and you wear it 120 times, it's $1 a wear. So I'm always trying to think about that and use education about that as well, to have more of a conversation about that.
Have you shared, like, how does your day-to-day look like when you're running your, fashion brand and being creative? Because I know, like, you have your sewing machine in the back, you're in your studio right now, and, you're always designing and creating. So I would love for you to share this day-to-day.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. For me, sometimes every day can look different. And I know, like, you talk about having days for things, which I always think about. And I'm like, that is so smart. And I think I'm working on getting there. For me, every day has to start with a routine. So I always wake up at 6 a.m. And you're talking about my husband being a keeper. He's amazing. So he wakes up at 4 and then he wakes me up at 6 with coffee.
Wow.
Like, every morning. I know. I'm just like, he's a babe and he's amazing. But I get up at 6 and then I do my French homework on Duolingo. So like, I'll sit there and I'll study, and then I use Plan to post my posts to Instagram. But I'll always just go on and check and like reshare to my stories or something like that, like do a little bit of social media. And then I'm ready to get out of bed. Then I do a workout. I journal like every morning and every night. So that's been so important for me to get my thoughts out and then reflect at the end of the day. So then I'll journal. I do exercise, like only like body weight stuff, like either yoga or Pilates or something like that. And then I have to like feed the pets, do a little bit of housekeeping because I work from home. So it's like, if my space isn't clean, I cannot focus. then after that, it's usually about 9 or 10. I get into the studio and then I like actually get down to working. So every day looks different. Some days I'm like shipping and packing. Some days I'm working on samples. I just had the fashion show in November. So that was a crazy lead up, or sorry, it was end of October. That was an insane lead up. I was sewing morning, noon, and night for like weeks straight because I did the whole collection myself. So,
and what are some of the favorite parts of running a fashion brand for you?
So yeah, I am trying to focus more on TikTok. To be honest, I get a lot of my sales and most of my community is on Instagram, just like my world. So I enjoy TikTok, making content that has to do with yachting on TikTok, which is like totally separate. And it's just like really fun stuff that I like talk about, or it's just the world. But I find from a sales perspective and nurturing my audience is more on Reels and on Instagram and inviting people in behind the scenes and showing them, you know, the steps, like, you know, like having all of my, for example, for the fashion show, like showing all of the Polaroids that I took, or showing me a time lapse of me sewing, or a time lapse of me even drawing. Like people just love seeing that. They love watching, people like watching other people do things. And if you think about like the big shows that are out there, like Friends or Seinfeld, or, you know, these are just shows about people just doing the regular things, and people just like watching other people do things. So you can even like clean your room and make content and like just time lapse it and then put some text over the front of it. That will get views, you know. So it doesn't have to always be like these really calculated things. Sometimes if you're just documenting your life and sharing it with people. So that is something I'm focusing on, doing more reels. I'm really right now focusing on like getting my whole collection posted to my Instagram feed with like the lifestyle peppered in between it. So, and then some of the things I love about running a fashion brand is, for me, like it was insane when people actually wore my designs. The first time I did the fittings for the fashion show, and like this is even at like a photo shoot, just seeing something that you had in here like eventually end up on somebody's body is absolutely insane. You're like, this is in real life, it's in 3D, it's moving. This just started as an idea in my head. That is so satisfying, and it really like brings me to tears every time I see it. I'm just like, wow, like this is happening. It's insane. Like taking the little Polaroid pictures of them in their outfits and just seeing people feel comfortable in your clothes and feel confident and feel beautiful. And that's an amazing feeling, you know, like making someone feel that way. It's great. And it gives me so much purpose, and it gives me so much joy to be like, you feel comfortable in your skin, you feel comfortable and confident who you are. This makes you feel beautiful. Like that's to me the best. So that's amazing. But I do love making content too. I think it's a really fun way to connect with your audience, and then to get feedback, like using your stories to get feedback about things. You know, you can ask different things like, what's the best colorway, or, you know, inviting people into your thing. A lot of the stuff that I've made, you know, or that I've repeated, like for example, this dress, my friend Francesca bought it off me, and then she didn't tell me, but she went and she wore it on Below Deck. It's like season 8, episode 2.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I ended up selling out, and I couldn't get the fabric again because it was from South Africa, and it was like this huge thing, and people are always messaging me for like years afterwards being like, where can I get this dress? And the place actually restocked it in South Africa, and I bought them out. I bought like all the rolls, sent to my manufacturer, and I was like, you need to make me this dress, you know. And so like that's like the feedback, because I had that feedback from my customers on Instagram. So without that, you know, I wouldn't think like, oh, like let's do this again. So a lot of my stuff is back and forth with my audience, you know, my customers.
Full picture of not just the wins, but also just some of the daily challenges or struggles that we face as brand owners.
Yeah. So I think one hurdle for me is that I'm a huge introvert. I'm a big recluse. So I prefer my alone time. And all of the people that I met that have opened doors for me or helped me open doors, I've met through networking events. And I get so much anxiety thinking about going to a networking event. I don't want to do it. I don't want to get dressed up and go out and stand there by myself being like, hi, like, with my name tag, my name's Randi. I'm a fashion designer. Like, that sounds crazy. Like, when you say it out loud for the first time, you're like, I'm a fashion designer. People are like, really? Yeah, like, I feel so cringe, but I force myself to do it, and I always end up having a good time, and I always end up meeting people, and every person I've met at these networking events has had a hand in helping me. Like, I met my one friend, Rachel, just over a year ago. She's an event planner, for weddings. So she gave me so much resources for my fashion show, like so much of her planning stuff. I met my friends Sandra and Joe at another networking event that I had to drive up to West Palm for, drive 45 minutes, go to a luncheon. Joe was a dresser at my fashion show. Sandra was the one who told me make a presentation because, I'm like, I'm the creative one. Like, she's like the planner. So she's like, you need to make a presentation that you can send to people. So without her, like, that wouldn't have happened. Michaela, like, I met at the same networking event as Rachel. So these are things like you don't necessarily want to do. It's going to be good for your brand. And you just have to be like, I don't feel like it. I'm going to do it anyways. Another challenge I have is fear. It seems as at every corner, fear and doubt, because I always feel like, hey, I'm standing on this precipice. I'm going to become a fashion designer. And like, that's a scary thing to say you're going to try pursuing. And you think, I'm going to jump off this cliff. I'm going to take this course. I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? But like at every corner, it seems there's another fear to overcome. And you just have to say, like, shut up, like, I'm doing it, like, you just have to be like, I can do this, like, I can do this, I can do this. And you look back, like you say, on reflecting, you're like, I did that. So, you can keep going, you can keep taking steps forward. And I think, maybe the fear of failure can hold people back. They're like, what if I fail? But what if you never try? What if you get to your deathbed and you're like, hopefully like in your 90s, laying there on your deathbed, looking back at your life, are you going to be like, oh, but really, like, I never even tried? So that keeps me going a lot. I'll constantly get to the edge of this cliff and be like, I'm so scared to jump off. It's like taking the course. It's like deciding on what you're going to have produced. Then your production stuff arrives. Now my next thing is I have to go and talk to businesses, and I need to do more rejection therapy, and I need to go down, and talk to boutique owners and be like, hi, would you like to stock my stuff? Here's like my line sheets, here's like everything, and that's more relationships again. And so like, it's this always overcoming fear, but it's amazing when you look back and be like, I did a fashion show on a yacht. I got my production stuff going. Like, I've done it. It's just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And then I would say the third and last obstacle that I have is cash flow. So, you talk about that a lot in the course, which is like really helpful, and something that I've had like a few businesses before, and like some have been successful, and like I've sold, and some haven't been successful. And I learn as much from my failures as I do from my successes. But so what I do now is I do a little bit of crew recruitment on the side, because I was like in that whole yachting world. And it's good because it helps me, like, while I'm starting up the brand, to like help me inject cash into the brand and get like my stuff going until it's like taking over itself. So I would say to people, if they're even just looking if they want to do this, like, just like even dip your toe in, like, just get started, just do it. And do a little bit, do like an hour a day. If you can just like not like give up something else that's taking up an hour of your day, if it's like TikTok or scrolling Instagram or like watching TV or something, like, just give it up and trade it for an hour of just taking a step towards your dream every day. Because you're not necessarily gonna like jump and then be like this overnight success. Like, there's no such thing. It takes like 10 years to be an overnight success. So it's like, that's what I would say is like, make sure you're looking after yourself financially, because that's going to look after your brand financially, and like get it to that spot too where it can take over your income.
What is something that you want to share to a fashion entrepreneur in their early brand journey that could help them with building out this amazing dream brand of theirs in the future?
Awesome. I'm so glad you asked me that. I actually have written down a couple of points because I was like, I'm so passionate about this. I'm so passionate about people following their dreams. Because like I've always been like this person who doesn't want to get to their deathbed and like have any regrets. So like even joining yachting, like I sold everything, left my family, went to travel around the world, people are like, that's crazy. And like, honestly, it's all crazy. Like just you dream big and then you start accomplishing your dreams. And then you're like, well, I did that. Now I need to dream bigger. It's like, I'm really passionate about that. So like my best advice would be that fortune favors the bold. That's like a really common saying. And working around people that I have had the privilege of working around. I mean, I was like the stewardess, do you know what I mean? So I'm not like in on business meetings or hanging out with the owners by any means, but they do work really hard. Like a lot of the people that I've worked for are working even when they're on their yacht. They're on their phones, they're doing work, they're taking meetings. Like, they wake up early, even though they're on the boat. They still wake up early. They eat breakfast, they do some work. Okay, they'll go for a swim or something. But these people do work hard. And I'm like, wow, like you own a yacht, like you should be chilling out. Do you know what I mean? But that's what successful people do, is they work hard. So don't think that it's going to be easy, but like I always say, life is challenging, right? It's challenging no matter what. It may as well be challenging in the direction you want to go. Like you're going to have battles anyways.
Yeah.
Have the battles that you want to fight for, that you believe in. So I wrote down, don't wait to begin. So like, just like what you were saying, like you encourage people in the course, like just start even like posting or start just taking one step towards your goals. And then at the same time, visualize, have an idea where you're going, like we talked about with the ship.
So I wanted to ask you, what are you currently working on and what are you excited about for this year?
Yeah, thank you. I too, like, I just wanted to like comment on that too, because you talk about mindset so much, about the entrepreneurship mindset, and it is like problem solving. And this is what we do a lot in yachting as well, is, we have people ask us for the craziest things. Like people will be like, I want 30,000 roses flown into the Bahamas tomorrow, and then there's like, throw them overboard. Like, you're just like, nothing is a problem. I will figure it out. You become the most resourceful person. And I feel like that's too, is like how you say reframing it, being like, okay, this didn't work out, but like, how is this working in my favor? And I feel like that's such a huge part of it too, is like, I'm, being a solution finder instead of a problem finder, being like, I'm going to find the solution. We're not going to complain about that. We're just going to keep moving forward and find the solution. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. In 2023, there was actually, a TV show that was filming at my fashion show that's going to be on Paramount Plus. So I will post about the actual, like, there's like a working name for it, and I don't think that's going to be like the actual name of the show. So I will post about that on my Instagram when it's like, when we get the launch date for the TV show. So that'll be summer 2023 on Paramount Plus. And I'm really excited for this now B2B journey, because, I did look at my business and how I wanted my business to be. And I didn't want to have, straight out the bat, a flagship store myself, or go into having a brick and mortar store myself, because I wanted to keep my overheads low and do lean startup, which is like something you also talk about in the course. So I'm really excited about, finding these new relationships and partnerships, either through online, through like the platforms online, and then also in person. So those two things I think I'm really looking forward to. Yeah. And doing more drops. I'm doing like more supplemental designs that are going to go with my capsule collection. So right now I have a capsule collection that I just launched for spring resort 2023. And it's kind of like interchangeable mix and match pieces. So I want to add like a blazer to that look. And then I'm looking to do more things that are also going to cross over on board yachts, but like also just be like resort wear. So I'm looking to do more drops throughout the year rather than seasons, like more seasonless type things.
Wanted to ask you if you had anything else to share, any tips or sneak peeks, anything that you want to share before we wrap it up?
Yeah, like I would just say, don't give up on your dreams. And, for me, it took me 10 years to circle back to starting this fashion brand.
Yeah.
But I always knew, like, it just wasn't the right time. Like I wanted to make sure that I was like in a certain place in my life where I could have it like be sustainable, or that I could sustain it. I could make it happen. And I just, even mentally and emotionally, like I wasn't ready, but I always knew I was going to do it. So if you just have this feeling like I'm going to do this someday, like don't give up on it. Like it's meant for you. What you want wants you back. And check out my latest capsule collection that I just launched on BravoXRomeo.com.
I am so excited, especially like the TV show is coming out, and like, yeah, I'm so grateful for your time and also like your insights. I'm totally inspired, and I hope it inspires you guys to take aligned action towards building your dream fashion brand, because you can do it too. And it's never too late. Like you mentioned, you had this idea 10 years ago, but it was just not the right time yet. And I think it's important to like, like if you have that gut feeling, like I need to start now, just go for it. But if it's also like, oh, well, I have this idea, but it's not the right time to start, that is okay too. You're not going to miss the boat, but just don't stop believing in your dream. So thank you so much, Randi, for your time. This
Thank
was
you.
so much fun, and I loved hearing your story, and I'm so grateful that you shared it as well with the audience. So thank you so much. And thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and make sure to follow Randi and myself. All the links are in the description box below, and I'll see you in the next one.